guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. So it is morning. I'm just filling up this pail to heat up the milk for the calves. So that should be warm by the time I go around with the bale. I think Brent just came out, so we'll go say hi to him real quick, and then we'll run around with that bale, and then we'll feed the calves. Hey.
Morning.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Time to milk the donuts.
That's a pretty nice looking bale.
2-year-old second dog.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, 2-year-old.
2-year-old second dog. Looking pretty leafy.
Yeah. They like it. Well, that's for sure.
These old girls will eat anything.
What?
These old girls will eat anything.
Yeah, they will. Well, I don't know. They were pretty fussy about that hydroponic feed when we first started feeding it.
I know.
They'll eat anything but what you actually want them to do.
They like it now.
Yeah, they do.
You just got to step up the operations.
Yeah. We just got those trays. Yeah.
200 trays.
200 of them?
Hopefully take 20 trays off a day.
Hopefully. Well, I gotta go around with the bale, so.
Okay.
Oh, a little too much. Should be warm now, I would think. I always like to dump a little bit of the water out because if I don't, I will spill the one without a cover. Brent is still inside getting coffee, so I'll probably feed one or maybe both of the calves before we get into milking, and then I'll feed the other one while we're milking, probably, if I don't get them both fed before he comes out. So in the last video, you guys saw Norma, our Normandy Holstein Cross calf. She had a heifer, actually. I didn't really clarify in the video, but she did have a heifer. Unfortunately, the only reason that it looked like a Normandy was because of the part Normandy that Norma has in her. It was indeed half Hereford. We got super excited because we thought it was a Normandy. I'm not sure why we didn't just think that Norma's part Normandy would make it look like a Normandy, but we just kind of fooled ourselves into believing that it was a Normandy calf. But how we finally figured it out, and I don't know why we didn't think of this sooner, any calf that comes out polled obviously has to be from the Hereford, because the Normandy bull that we borrowed had a huge set of horns on him, and every cow here has horns. So if the calf is polled, then it's obviously a Hereford. These two babies are also polled, which kind of surprises me, because if you ask me, this little boy right here looks just like a Normandy. But he is polled, so he's definitely a Hereford. And this little baby was just born last night. Because we've actually had 4 calves since you guys last saw that video. 2 of them are gone already because people are taking them when they're like 4 days old. Brent has people calling him all the time asking for calves, and we don't even advertise them or anything, so it's word of mouth, I guess. People just tell each other that we have Herefords. So they've been going really young. We've been just giving them their colostrum. We like to usually wait a week and a half to 2 weeks before we get rid of them, but people just want them now. So I guess it's that time of year when people want to start raising calves again. So we've had 2 girls, and then we had these 2 boys. Both of these boys are sold as well, so they'll be going in a few days. He needs to stay here for a while because he still needs to have his colostrum. He is probably ready to go. I think he might be going today. So, yeah. But I wanted to introduce a cow to you guys. Actually, this calf's mother I wanted to introduce to you guys. So, this right here is Haley. She is a purebred Holstein. Like I said, she's the one that just calved. I honestly don't know. I'd have to look at her chart, but she was here well before I started, so she has to be anywhere from 14 up. But like I said, I have to look at her chart to see. So you can probably tell by her face, is one of our older cows. But she's also one of our better producing cows. The last time she calved, she actually had twins. And she had them really early, about a month and a half early, because something was wrong. We weren't really sure what was wrong, but we knew something was wrong, so we were keeping a close eye on her. But she did calve a month and a half early. Both the calves were fully developed, but they were small and they just weren't healthy, and unfortunately neither one of them made it. But she was fine. It didn't bother her at all. She made it perfectly through her lactation. You wouldn't have known anything was wrong, but it was kind of a bummer that she lost those 2. So this time she had one perfectly healthy little boy, so that is very good. Somebody's stealing her hay though. Brent just started the milk room, so we're gonna start milking. And I didn't get either one of the calves fed, so I'm just goofing around this morning.
Oh Lord, why was I born?
Okay.
Yeah, my knee aches today.
Looked like you were walking a little more bow-legged than usual.
My mother used to press her pants over pickle barrels. How many calves does she have?
I don't know. Must be like 13 or 14. You're doing really good this time, that's for sure.
She's a good 14 calf heifer.
Alright, so we just took the machine off our last cow and we've got our second bale here ready to go. You guys can see this one is a little bit better. They've been getting better from that field we've been feeding. I'm not really sure why the first couple didn't seem like they fermented quite right, but these ones are much better. So I'm gonna go around with this. Brent is in the milk room finishing the wash and everything. So we'll do that and then we'll hoe them out and then we'll bed them and hopefully Brent will come out and help because I'm tired this morning. I've got to tell you about the last few days we've had because they've just been insane. So we just finished everything. We bedded the girls and gave them that bale and some of them are laying down and some of them are still standing and eating the rest of that bale. So like I was saying earlier, it has been a very interesting past couple of days. So if you guys saw the last video, you remember when that fan was making a really strange noise? And we actually did check that out that night and we turned it off and turned it on and it seemed fine. It stopped making the noise and it was working fine, so we didn't even worry about it. Well, the next morning we came down and it was pretty cool that morning. It was about 19 degrees and it had been warmer mornings, like 25 to 30 degrees in the morning, but this was the coolest morning we had in quite some time, which was a very good thing. So we had our coffee break as usual and then we came out into the barn and it was just very hot in here. Not to the point where it was dangerous, but it was getting there. Some of the windows had been condensed a little bit. It was just a little bit humid in here, and for anybody who has a tie stall, that is like the worst feeling ever, to feel that humid, wet air hit you. You just know instantly that something is extremely wrong. So we came down here, and this fan over here and this fan over here were both off, and since it was 19 degrees, we figured it wasn't the thermostat because it's plenty warm enough for this barn to stay at 40. When it's 19 degrees, it has to be around single digits for those fans to shut off because of the thermostat. Brent went over and stuck his hand on the bottom of the thermostat anyway, just to see if it would turn on, and it didn't, which we expected that because it definitely wasn't cold enough for those to shut off. So that was when we really started to worry, so we opened all the barn doors just to get some airflow in here because it was warming up pretty fast. It was supposed to be 40 degrees that day, and we did not want to get the girls sick because that is very dangerous. It's not dangerous until the ceiling starts dripping, because when the ceiling is dripping, you know immediately you might as well just go out and get shots for your cows because they're gonna get pneumonia because it's just way too wet and way too hot in here if that ceiling does start dripping. But luckily it wasn't at that point yet. It was just some of the windows were fogging up. So we opened all the doors and then we started looking closer to see what the problem could be. So first of all, we checked all the fuses because each fan, I'll show you. Off. Each fan has its own fuse like this. It just screws in and it should have blown that fuse if something was wrong, but we checked those fuses and all testing out all right. We did still have power in the milk room and everything else was working just fine. So Brent called our electrician and he came right over, and at this point it was like 6 in the morning, so it was really nice of him to come over when he did. He actually came over like immediately and he's just a really nice guy. So him and Brent looked at everything while I actually milked alone. Some of you had been asking if Brent doesn't milk with me, do I still use like the 6 machines? And I do, and it makes you extremely tired because it's a lot of running around. But anyway, I milked alone while Brent and the electrician tried to figure out what was going on. So what had happened was, this fan right here, you can see it's a new fan now. We got a new fan and it's just beautiful. I love it. It has louvers and everything. But anyway, the fan that was here actually ended up seizing up in the middle of the night and throwing a breaker. But this is where it gets confusing because the electricity comes out of the milk room and it has one of those old style stab-ins with the fuses on it. And it comes down here and it goes into this building where we're gonna do our hydroponics. and it has a breaker box there that runs these two fans. So we didn't even think about that building. We forgot entirely that there was a breaker box in there. Here, I'll show you guys that. So it tripped this one right here. You can see where it says fan. It tripped that, and we had to cut our tarp to get in here, but that's beside the point. So he reset that breaker, and that should have made the other fan start working. Obviously, this one down here wasn't going to because it was burnt out, but that one still wasn't working. So we were really confused about that, so he was checking all the electricity around it, and he said it should be working, it should be fine. Well, come to find out, just by complete coincidence, that those stab-ins in there, apparently every once in a while you have to clean them, or just stick them in and pull them out like 1,000 times and then it will start working. Well, apparently that had for some reason at the same time decided not to work. So that was kind of a coincidence, but once he did that a few times, it did start working and nothing was tripping any breakers after that, so that was good. But I just wanted to share that with you guys because that is like the scariest feeling when you walk into a tie stall barn and it's just too warm. They're really great in the summer because obviously the cows are out and the barn is nice and cool. And they're really great in the winter as well because it's nice to work in a nice warm environment. You don't have to worry about it getting too warm because it's cold outside. But in the spring and in the fall, they can be kind of tricky to keep the temperature just right. You have to do a lot of opening doors and just trying to figure out how to get the best ventilation in here, and it can be really tricky. So, but as you guys saw, we did find a fan, which is kind of a story in and of itself because usually we get our fans at Tractor Supply, but they stopped carrying them a while ago. And I looked it up and they said that they didn't carry any, but that you could order them. So we were dropping off a couple calves for a guy and we decided to just stop into a Tractor Supply just to see if they could order one for us. And we were looking at electric motors because we thought maybe we could just put an electric motor on that one that burnt out and we could just use that. And while we were in that aisle, I turned around and there was just a whole line of fans, and including the fan that fits perfectly. It fits in there like a glove. So we bought that and came back that night and hooked that up. But I think the only thing that saved this barn from going overboard to being too hot was, for some reason, we don't usually do this. Usually we open the hay holes. You saw Brent opening the hay holes in the last video. Usually we would open them in the morning and then shut them at night, but we didn't shut them that night. So they still had that cool air coming down through here, and I think that is what really saved this barn from going too far and making the cows sick. So we were extremely lucky. Just wanted to share that with you guys, and now I'll show you this fan because I love it. Watch. It's so quiet. I love it. So now I'll take you into the milk room and show you what I wanted to show you in there. Leave the girls alone and let them finish up their hay and take a little nappy, right? We took the milk machines apart. We took all the shells off. We're soaking these shells in here in some acid and some hot water. I'll turn the light on so you can actually see. So just about every 2 months we will take the inflations off, so this rubber part right here. But lately we've been having issues with these lasting 2 months. They don't last long at all. I wanted to show you guys. I'll show you guys one. I have to dig it out of the trash. Oh no, I left one right here. So this has been what's happening. They will break. Around the edge there, you can see if I pull that down, you can see the hole in it. I think they've changed the rubber that they make them out of. Every brand that we've tried like 4 different brands, and none of them work. They all break within, some of them were breaking within a week, and others were lasting close to the amount of time. These are the best ones that we've gotten so far, so we did get the same ones again. But they still break way more often than they used to. And something that we thought might be a problem was we thought maybe the claws were getting a little sharp on these edges right here. But they weren't. None of them are at all. And we don't bend the machine over unless we absolutely have to, which is almost never. So I guess the problem just has to be that they're not using quite as quality rubber as they were before, or whatever they're made out of. These ones have been lasting pretty close to the amount of time that they should. These are the Ultraliner 01 AULTs. They work pretty good because we have 06 shells. We have pretty small shells because obviously our cows don't give 120 pounds of milk, so we have pretty small shells. We still have the old style. I wanted to show you guys that. So we just like to soak these because you can see this ring around the edge of it. It just gets stuff underneath the lip right here, and that stains it, so we like to leave those in there to soak. And these are De Laval. I wanted to show you guys. This one right here is like so old. I don't know if this is focusing on it, but you can see that it says De Laval 06, and that is like a really old shell. Probably like a 60s shell. And a lot of them are like that in there. There's only a few new ones. So we're just going to leave those in there to soak, and then I'm going to come back a little bit early, like probably half an hour early, and we're going to put on the new inflations. These are just some of the inflations that didn't break. And we like to keep those just as extras because we've had such a time with them. They're not even rough on the inside, but a lot of them have been broken. We only had 11 good ones and we have 24, so more than half of them were already broken. So I wanted to show you guys that and just kind of update you on how everything has been going. So we still have around 20 cows that are supposed to calve, so maybe one of these times we'll get a for real Normandy. And I'm going to be super excited when that happens, obviously, because I was already so excited that I just tricked myself into thinking it was a Normandy. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe and comment down below. And hit that notification bell so you know when any new videos are being posted. Keep it real, keep farming, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.